I never thought I'd bury my own blood for a lie. But there I was, digging the grave with my bare hands while he slept off his whiskey in the guest room. The dirt under my nails was from the backyard of our family home in suburban Connecticut, the kind of place where white picket fences hide the rot. And that shovel, God, that shovel, felt heavier than the secret I'd carried for 8 years. When I finally dragged his limp body out there at dawn, trussed up like a holiday turkey, I whispered my first real goodbye. You mocked my little hobby, Jake. Time to see what it grows into. It started innocently enough, or at least that's the lie we all tell ourselves in these godforsaken American dreams. I was Brinley Hargrove back then, 25 and fresh out of Yale with a degree in computer science that felt more like a participation trophy than a golden ticket. Tech was booming in the early 2010s, Silicon Valley sucking up every kid with a laptop and a half-baked app idea. But I wasn't chasing unicorns. No, I stayed put in the Northeast, crashing on my sister's couch in Stanford while I scraped by as a freelance coder for indie game devs. It was grunt work, debugging buggy scripts for pixelated RPGs that no one played, earning me just enough to cover ramen and rent on a shoebox apartment overlooking the Merritt Parkway. My sister, Emily, had married up, or so everyone said. Jake Whitaker, tall, broad-shouldered, with that all-American jawline and a Wharton MBA, swept into our lives like a venture capital pitch deck. He worked his way up at Whitaker & Sons, a mid-tier marketing firm in White Plains that specialized in rebranding failing startups as disruptive innovators. Jake was the golden boy, the one who closed deals over 18-year-old scotch and handshakes that lingered just a second too long. Emily adored him, blind to the way his eyes flicked over her like she was a line item on a balance sheet. And me? I was the awkward little sister, the one he called Bryn the bug fixer at family barbecues, chuckling as if my keyboard warrior life was some quaint hobby, like knitting or bird watching. You ever gonna get a real job, Bryn? He'd say, flipping a burger with tongs that cost more than my monthly grocery bill. The relatives would laugh, plates piled with potato salad from Stop and Shop, and I'd force a smile, muttering something about passion projects. But inside it burned. Not because I envied his corner office or the Tesla in the driveway. Hell, I didn't want his life. It was the dismissal, the way he reduced my code to toys, while Emily nodded along, her eyes apologetic but silent. She was pregnant with their first by then, and family peace trumped everything. That's when the betrayal sank its hooks in. It was late 2017, and Jake had hit a wall at work. His big client, a fintech startup called SecurePay, was bleeding cash after a data breach exposed user info to every hacker from here to Pyongyang. The CEO, a blowhard named Harlan Voss, was screaming for heads on platters. Jake, in a panic, came to me one rainy Tuesday night. Emily was at prenatal yoga, the house smelling of microwave popcorn and his cologne, something sharp, like ambition bottled up. Bryn, I need your help, he said, pacing the kitchen island like a caged wolf. He spilled it all. SecurePay's encryption was Swiss cheese, and he'd greenlit a rushed rollout to hit quarterly targets. Now, with lawsuits piling up, he needed a fix. Not just any fix, a miracle that made it look like the breach never happened. I should have said no, but Emily called midway through his pitch, her voice bubbly over speakerphone. Babe, Bryn's here? Tell her about the nursery colors. Jake's eyes softened for a split second, and I caved. Over the next 3 weeks, I lived in that basement office, chugging Red Bull and rewriting their entire backend from scratch. It wasn't just patching holes. I built a new AI-driven firewall, something I'd been tinkering with in my hobby games, adaptive algorithms that learn from attacks in real time, like a digital immune system. It was elegant, unbreakable. I handed him the keys, source code, deployment scripts, the works. Jesus, Bryn, this is gold, he breathed, clapping my shoulder like I was one of the boys. You're a lifesaver. Harlan's gonna eat this up. He presented it as his own at the board meeting, of course. I watched the live stream from my laptop, Emily texting me updates. Jake's killing it. Promotion incoming. SecurePay's stock rebounded overnight. Jake got a fat bonus, a corner suite with a view of the Hudson, and whispers of partnership. Me? A generic thanks email and a knockoff Coach purse from Emily that I donated to Goodwill. But the real knife twist came 6 months later. SecurePay's rivals started sniffing around, demanding audits. Jake, ever the schemer, buried the origins deep, falsified timestamps on the commits, routed the code through offshore proxies. When the feds knocked, investigating insider trading tied to the breach cover-up, he pinned it on me. Freelancer gone rogue, his affidavit read. Brinley Hargrove accessed our systems without authorization, tampered with security protocols. Emily believed him at first, tears streaming as she begged me to explain it away. The evidence was ironclad, or so it seemed. My IP logs, forged emails from a dummy account. I took the plea deal to keep the family intact. 2 years probation, a felony on my record that nuked any legit tech gig. No jail time, but my career? Vaporized. I slunk back to freelance shadows, coding anonymous mods for crypto scams while Jake toasted his instincts at holiday parties. He'd pat my back, eyes gleaming. Tough break, Bryn. But hey, at least you're still fixing bugs, right? Better than nothing. That purse. It was the last gift I accepted. In the dead of night, after their second kid was born, a boy they named after Jake's grandfather, I started plotting. Not with shovels, not yet. With code. The kind that whispers in the dark, unraveling empires one line at a time. Revenge isn't a sprint. It's a marathon through moral quicksand, every step sucking you deeper into the gray. By 2020, the world was on fire. COVID lockdowns turning white-collar drones into pajama philosophers, and I was holed up in a dingy walk-up in Bridgeport, the kind of place where the radiator clanks like it's auditioning for a horror flick. My job had devolved into ghostwriting algorithms for dark web hustlers, evasion tools for tax dodgers, anonymizers for OnlyFans leakers. It paid the bills, barely, but it honed me sharp. Jake's mockery echoed in every client brief. Keep it simple, bug fixer. Fueling the fire under my latest project, EchoGuard. EchoGuard started as a what-if, born from the secure pay ashes. What if my firewall wasn't just defensive? What if it could echo back, mirror attacks, amplify them, turn the predator's fangs on itself? I coded it in secret, late nights blurred by cheap bourbon from the corner bodega. It was beautiful, vicious, a neural net that infiltrated networks undetected, learning their veins before striking. Not malware, not quite. More like a ghost in the machine, rewriting rules from within. I tested it on dummies, a rival dev's beta site, a fishing farm in Jersey. They folded without a trace, chalking it up to glitches. Jake, meanwhile, was ascending. Whitaker and Sons merged with a bigger fish, Voss Media Group, Harlan's empire, and Jake became VP of digital strategy. He poached secure pay talent, rebranded my stolen code as Whitaker Shield, licensing it to every Fortune 500 wannabe. Emily posted pics on Facebook, family ski trips to Vermont, Jake in a parka grinning like he'd invented snow. Comments flooded in, living the dream. I liked them all from a burner account, my thumb hovering over delete. The first flip came unexpectedly. Emily cornered me at Thanksgiving 2021, the turkey carcass picked clean on the dining table, kids napping upstairs. Jake was in the den, yelling at fantasy football on the flat screen. Bryn, what's going on with you? She hissed, her once bright eyes dulled by Botox and board meetings. She'd started working part-time at Jake's firm, crunching numbers for his pitches. Jake says you're involved in shady stuff. Hacking? Please tell me it's not true. I almost cracked then, spilling the felony farce, the code he'd cribbed. But her hand on my arm, soft, pleading, stayed me. He's under so much pressure. Harlan's riding him hard. Just stay clean, okay? For me. Betrayal's echo. She chose him again. I nodded, excused myself to the porch, and lit a cigarette I'd bummed from a cousin. Under the sodium glow of the street lamp, I fired up my laptop. EchoGuard's first real target, a low-level Whitaker vendor, some email marketing outfit. By morning, their servers were looping spam into oblivion, forwarding client lists to the FTC. Jake called it a cyber prank in the group chat, laughing it off. But I saw the sweat in his follow-up text to Harlan. He flipped next, reaching out like old times. A LinkedIn DM, casual as a beer invite. Hey bug fixer, heard you're still slinging code. Got a side gig if you're interested, under the table. Attached, specs for upgrading Whitaker Shield. My heart jackhammered. He needed me again, the firm drowning in copycat breaches from China. I ghosted him for weeks, letting EchoGuard nibble at the edges, delayed reports, phantom lags in their dashboards. Harlan Voss went nuclear in a leaked earnings call. If Jake's team can't lock this down, Heads will roll. Jake's texts escalated, pleading, then pissed. Emily's worried, Bryn. Don't make me play the family card. I met him at a dive bar in Yonkers, neutral ground where the jukebox played Springsteen on loop and the bartender didn't ask for last names. He slid into the booth, tie loosened, looking every bit the cornered exec. Look, I know things got messy back then. Secure pay. It was survival. But this? Voss Media's my shot at equity. Help me, and I'll cut you in, 20% off the books. His eyes darted, scheming already. Leverage my felony to keep me silent, dangle cash to buy loyalty. I sipped my IPA, letting the bitterness coat my tongue. 20? Generous, Jake. After you hung me out to dry. He leaned in, voice dropping to that boardroom timbre, smooth, persuasive. Water under the bridge. We're family. Family. The word twisted like a knife. I agreed, on the surface, sent him tweaks to the shield, innocent-looking patches that hid Echo Guard seeds. Deep down, they rooted, waiting for my command. Emily flipped too, unwittingly. She showed up at my door one February night, snow dusting her Burberry coat, a bottle of Pinot in hand like a peace offering. Girls' night, she declared, though we both knew it was reconnaissance. Over takeout Thai, pad CEW from the spot on Boston Avenue. She pried gently. Jake's stress, the kid's school drama, her own burnout. Then, casual as confetti, he mentioned your help again. Says you're a wizard. Why don't you come work for us? Legit, I mean. Wipe the slate. It was the closest she'd come to an apology, her fingers tracing the wineglass rim, eyes avoiding mine. I wanted to scream. The years lost, the nights coding in rage while she posted blessed selfies. Instead, I smiled, poured refills. Maybe. For you. That night, as she crashed on my futon, I slipped into the kitchen, laptop glowing. Echo Guard bloomed. Infiltrating Voss Media's cloud, mapping their crown jewels, ad algorithms, client bids, Harlan's vanity project, a streaming app called Voss Vision. Jake's decisions grew controversial, even to me. He started cutting corners, bribing regulators for shield certifications, strong-arming vendors into silence. Whispers hit the trades. Whitaker's Wonder Boy or wolf in sheep's clothing? He doubled down, flipping from charmer to tyrant, firing Emily's assistant on a whim, then crying to her that night about loyalty tests. She confided in me over coffee runs, torn, loving the provider, hating the paranoia. He's not the man I married, she'd say, then backtrack. Stress, you know? I knew, and I fed it. Echo Guard's tendrils tightened, leaked docs to ProPublica, anonymous tips to the SEC. Jake's empire teetered, but he flipped again, charming Harlan with a Hail Mary demo, my poison code masked as innovation. Voss ate it up, announcing a $500 million Series B for Voss Vision, Jake as COO. Champagne corks popped at the Stanford house. Emily texted a blurry photo of the toast. I replied with a heart emoji, then keyed in the trigger, partial activation. Just enough to glitch the demo. Frozen screens, garbled audio, making Jake look like a fool in front of investors. The fallout was swift. Harlan sidelined him, rumors swirling of an internal probe. Jake called me at 3 a.m., voice slurred. What the fuck, Bryn? That patch, it tanked everything. I feigned shock, offered to debug remotely. He bought it, desperate, flipping to ally once more. But as I wormed deeper into their systems, the quicksand pulled. Was I avenging betrayal or becoming the monster? Emily's texts turned frantic. Jake's unraveling. Help him. Family ties, fraying like cheap thread. By summer 2023, Voss Vision was live, beaming Harlan's ego to every Roku in America. And Jake was clawing back, his schemes darker. He pitched me equity in a shadow LLC for old times, but I saw the fine print. NDAs chaining me forever. I played along, Echo Guard dormant but primed. The betrayal's secret festered. That night in the backyard loomed closer, shovel's weight in my dreams. Revenge tasted sweet until it didn't. Tension coils like a spring in the gut, and mine was wound so tight by fall 2024 that every breath felt like a betrayal of calm. Voss Media's headquarters loomed over Midtown like a glass monolith, all reflective surfaces hiding the corporate vipers inside. I'd infiltrated not just their code, but their world, posing as a consultant under a pseudonym, Bryn Lee Harlow, my felony scrubbed via a deep web favor that cost me half a year's gigs. Jake never suspected. He was too busy flipping personas. The remorseful brother-in-law in family Zooms, the ruthless exec in earnings calls, the paranoid husband rifling Emily's phone for leaks. Emily was the wild card now, her flips accelerating. She'd quit the firm after Jake's blow-up with her team, accusing them of sabotage post-demo flop, but guilt kept her orbiting. "He's sorry," she'd say over FaceTime from the kids' soccer games in Darien, her face pixelated but pained. "Therapy's helping. And he asked about you, said to thank you for the fixes." Lies layered on lies. I nodded, murmuring support while Echo Guards siphoned terabytes. Harlan's offshore slush funds, Jake's kickbacks from Shield licensees. It was a powder keg, and I held the match. The antagonist in my mirror grew sharper too. Mornings staring at the cracked glass in my Queen's studio, questioning if the crime I'd borne was karma's preview. That felony? It wasn't just a scar. It barred me from conferences, visas, even basic LinkedIn searches. I'd gambled my future for their facade, and now, as Jake's star dimmed under Harlan's scrutiny, I wondered, was revenge justice, or just another theft? His decisions fueled the doubt. Controversial, yes, like when he anonymously doxed a whistleblower journalist, then donated to her charity the next week, playing the reformed saint. Emily bought it. The press called it nuanced leadership. I called it slime. The build-up to climax was a slow burn. New York autumn, leaves crunching under my boots as I tailed Jake to divey after-work spots in the village. He was unraveling publicly now, a variety profile painting him as Voss's volatile visionary. Quotes dripping with backhanded praise. Harlan, the puppet master, flipped alliances weekly, praising Jake in memos, then benching him for creative timeouts. Jake vented to me in encrypted chats, oblivious. "Harlan's testing me, Bryn. But with your help, I'll own this place." I fed him half-truths, Echo Guard evolving into a symphony of sabotage, altering ad metrics to inflate, then deflate, seeding Voss Vision with metadata ghosts that flagged for antitrust bots. Emily confronted me in person that October, showing up unannounced at a coffee shop in Flushing, her SUV double-parked like she owned the block. Rain slicked her hair, mascara smudging under eyes that hadn't slept. "Bryn, stop ghosting. Jake's. He's talking divorce. Says I'm not supportive." Her voice cracked, hands twisting a napkin into confetti. The secret bubbled up. I could end it, confess the code theft, his frame job. But her next words hooked me. "He misses you, you know? Calls you his secret weapon. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Save him. Save him." The audacity ignited something primal. I hugged her goodbye, promising talks, then drove straight to Stamford under Wiper's slapping rhythm. Their house glowed warm, porch light haloing the minivan. I let myself in with the spare key, still under the gnome, Emily's whimsy, and found Jake in the study, scotch in hand, screens flickering with Voss Vision betas. He startled, then grinned that salesman smile. "Bryn, Emily said you might swing by. Pour you one." We talked shop first, surface code chatter, then it cracked open. "Harlan's gunning for me," he admitted, sloshing amber into tumblers. "Wants me out before the IPO. But if I deliver the next Shield upgrade." His eyes lit, scheming anew. "You're in, right? Equity, real stakes. No more freelance bullshit." The mockery slipped in, casual venom. "I mean, look at you, still bug-fixing for chumps. This could be your ticket." That was the flip I needed. I clinked glasses, throat tight. "All in, Jake. For family." As he rambled visions of Hampton's shares, I palmed his phone, unlocked Trust's fatal flaw, and mirrored it to mine. By midnight, Echo Guard had his texts. Bribes to board members, affairs with interns masked as team builds. Controversial? Hell, it was radioactive. But the real bomb, evidence he'd known about the secure pay frame from day one, emails to a fixer, pin it on the sister-in-law. Clean. I drove back to Queens in a blackout rage, rain mirroring tears I wouldn't shed. The next weeks were a tense waltz, feeding Jake upgrades laced with trackers, watching him flip to Harlan's favorite again, a splashy launch party for Voss Vision at the Rainbow Room, where he schmoozed VCs like a reborn king. Emily texted pride emojis. I replied with knives. Harlan, the mountebank, flipped too, privately threatening Jake's ouster, publicly toasting his genius. The polarization brewed in me first. Friends from Yale, Those who'd ghosted post-felony pinged back as my anonymous leaks hit Hacker News. Whitaker Shields' dirty secrets. Debates raged online. Corporate espionage or whistleblowing. Jake or the system. I lurked, anonymous, my decisions mirroring his. Leak a little, retract a little, keep the tension taut. Climax crested at the annual Voss Gala. December 2024, Cipriani's walls dripping with tinsel and egos. I'd scored an invite via a fabricated journo badge. Echo Guard's final act cued. Full inversion. As Jake took the stage, spotlit, mic in hand, pitching Shield 2.0 to a room of whales. I hit enter from a shadowed booth. The demo screens bloomed. Not glory, but ghosts. My original secure pay code unspooled, timestamps reverting, his forgeries glowing red. Innovation, the voiceover, my synthesized snark, droned. Or stolen scraps from a felon he framed? Chaos erupted. Investors bolted. Harlan's face purpled mid-clap. Jake froze, mic trembling. This. Glitch. Bryn, wait, what? He'd seen me then. Across the sea of tuxes, my smile ablade. Security swarmed, but I slipped out, pulse thundering, into the snow-dusted streets. Texts blew up. Emily's panic. What happened? Jake's fury. You bitch. Harlan's unlisted number. Somehow. We need to talk. Now. Back in my studio, the spring snapped. I poured bourbon, screens alive with fallout. Stocks tanking, feds circling. Revenge crested, but the high was hollow. Emily's voicemails sobbing, kids' voices in the background. Was I the hero, exposing rot? Or the villain, shattering a family for a grudge? The shovel called from dreams, but dawn brought a knock. Harlan Voss, uninvited, on my stoop. You built it all, he said, stepping in without ask, coat shedding snow. Echo Guard. Brilliant. Jake's a fool. He never deserved it. Flip. Not rage, but recruitment. Join me. Equity. Your name on the door. His eyes, cold as Wall Street wind, promised absolution. But the twist loomed, buried deeper than dirt. Dawn's gray light filtered through my blinds like a guilty conscience. Harlan Voss perched on my thrift store couch like he owned the squalor. The man was a relic, silver temples, bespoke wool over a frame softened by decades of steakhouse success. But his voice cut like a closing bell. Precise, predatory. Brinley Hargrove. Or should I say, the ghost who coded my nightmare. He sipped the diner coffee I'd microwaved, unflinching. Jake's done. SEC's got his emails by noon. But you're the wild card. Walk with me, and Voss Media rises from this. Your tech, my muscle. I leaned against the kitchenette counter, arms crossed, the weight of 8 years pressing like an unpaid tab. Echo Guard hummed faintly on my laptop, its tendrils retracting from their empire like a satisfied spider. Part of me, the part that still bled for Emily's tears, wanted to bolt, vanish into the freelance fog. But revenge's aftertaste is addiction, and Harlan dangled the vein. Legitimacy, billions, my name etched in silicon. What's the catch? I asked, voice steady as a server ping. He smiled, thin as a contract clause. No catch. Jake framed you, stole your work, hung you out. I knew peripherally. Ignored it, like boardroom wallpaper. But now, your leverage. We spin this. Whistleblower saves the day. You get the corner office. I get the headlines. His flip was masterful, from victim of sabotage to architect of redemption, painting Jake as the sole serpent. Controversial? Undeniably. Bury one betrayal to birth another. Absolve the house by burning the handyman. I bought time, stalling with tech talk. Echo Guard's kill switch, plausible deniability, while my mind raced circuits. Emily's texts piled. Bryn, call me. Jake's packing. Kids are scared. The family man I'd half-mourned fractured further. He'd flipped one last time that morning, per Harlan's leak, blaming Emily for pushing the secure pay rush, lawyering up for custody war. My doing? Indirectly. The polarization hit peak. Online forums split. Cancel Jake trending with free Brinley counters. Debates raging if I was Avenger or anarchist. Pundits on CNBC called it the revenge hack of the decade. Ethicists decrying the collateral. Lost jobs at Voss. Emily's shattered nest. Harlan's offer hung, tempting as forbidden code. I could end this cycle, step into light, autograph deals for the architect, not the bug fixer. But the secret's rot demanded excavation. One condition, I said, pulling up the original SecurePay files on my screen. Full credit. Backdated. And Jake's confession, on record. He chuckled, low and loaded. Bold. But yes, we drafted together. We did, that afternoon in a midtown WeWork, lawyers on speed dial. Harlan flipped charming, ordering in sushi from Nobu, toasting new beginnings. By evening, Jake's downfall was scripted, press release framing him as rogue, me as the silent sentinel. Emily called mid-meal, voice hollow. Bryn? It's over. He's gone. Took the Tesla, left a note blaming everyone. I excused myself, Harlan's eyes tracking like a hawk. I'm coming. I lied. Inside, the twist coiled. Echo Guard's true payload, dormant till now. Night fell electric. Times Square's neon a migraine pulse as I tailed Harlan to his penthouse on Billionaires Row. He'd invited me up, sealed the deal over scotch, but I slipped a USB into his coat pocket en route. Echo Guard's final echo. A mirror virus, not destructive, but revelatory. It would unspool his secrets too, those slush funds tied to Russian oligarchs, the harassment suits buried in NDAs. Not to destroy, but to democratize. Leaks timed for dawn, straight to WikiLeaks mirrors. The penthouse was opulence porn. Eames chairs, Basquiat's on walls. A bar stocked with bottles older than my grudge. Harlan poured Macallan, clinking. To empires rebuilt. We talked vision. Echo Guard as Voss's backbone, my autograph, on patents. He flipped vulnerable then. Rare crack. Jake was my blind spot. Ambitious kid, but sloppy. You're steel. Flattery's hooks sank, but I saw the scheme. Use me as shield, discard when convenient. Emily arrived unannounced. Keycard from Jake's carelessness, face a mask of devastation. Bryn? Harlan. She froze in the foyer, coat dripping meltwater. The confrontation ignited. Her accusations. You did this. Your help destroyed us. My silence. Harlan's oily interjection. Mrs. Whitaker, your husband's crimes. She flipped feral, hurling the scotch glass, shards skittering like shattered vows. Crimes? He protected us. Took the heat when Brinley's hack failed SecurePay. The room stilled. Harlan's brow arched, my blood iced. Emily's slip, the buried truth, she'd known. Not just the frame, but urged it. It was your code, Bryn, but Jake said. You wanted out anyway. Freelance life, remember? We gave you an excuse. Her eyes, wild, family first. You understood. Betrayal's Hydra, not just Jake, but her. The secret I'd borne? A triad lie. I laughed, bitter as the spill on Persian rug. Excuse to what? Your perfect life. Harlan watched, calculating. Flip to mediator? Accomplice? But Echo Guard stirred. His phone buzzed. Leaks live. Alerts flooded. Voss scandal. CEO's dirty deals exposed. His face drained. Emily gasped at her own screen. Jake's note digitized, confessing all, including her complicity. Chaos crested. Harlan lunged for his landline, barking at PR ghosts. Emily crumpled, sobbing, I did it for the kids. I stood amid the storm, the polarizing heart. No heroes, just survivors clawing American dirt. My revenge? Delivered, but the cost. Emily's world in rubble, Harlan's throne teetering. Jake exiled to some Florida condo, lawyered into oblivion. Epilogue twist. Months later, May 2025, Voss Media's rebrand gala. I'm there, not as Ghost, but keynote. Brinley Hargrove, Chief Innovation Officer, Echo Guard my crown. The crowd's a mix. Ex-Whitaker vets glaring, tech bros fawning. Harlan approaches, diminished, autographed book in hand. Literal, leather-bound, for the board. Sign here. He murmurs, pen trembling. You saved us. His eyes beg absolution, but mine hold the gray. I flipped too, taking the equity, silencing the full leaks for a slice of the pie. Emily attends, distant across the room. Kids in tow. Awkward waves, no hugs. Jake? A footnote, peddling real estate in Boca, his mockery a meme. As I scrawl my name. Flourished, unmocked. The debate rages internal. Triumph or tragedy? Readers, you'd argue too. Did I rise? Or just trade one grave for another? In America's tense dream, maybe that's the real hook. No one's clean, but damn if the autograph doesn't shine.